Develop 4 new success habits a year. John Paul Getty once said, an individual who wants to reach the top in business must appreciate the might and the force of habit. He must be quick to break those habits that can break him or her, and hasten to adopt these practices will become the habits that will help him achieve the success he or she deserves. Psychologists actually tell us that up to 90% of behaviour is habitual. 90%, that is, habitual. We just do it day in, day out for the sake of doing it. For the time you get up in the morning until the time you retire at night, there are hundreds of things that you do the same way every day. These include the way you shower, the way you dress, the way you eat breakfast, read a paper, brush your teeth, drive to work, organise your desk, shop at the supermarket and clean your house. Over the years, you've developed a set of firmly entrenched habits that determine how every area of your life works, from your job and your income to your health and your relationships. Well, the good news is these habits can help free up your mind while your body is in automatic mode. This allows you to plan your day while you're in the shower and talk to your fellow passengers while you're driving your car. The bad news is you can also become locked into these same habits that don't serve you. You're unconscious, and also self-defeating behaviour patterns that inhibit your growth and limit your success. Whatever habits you've established up until this point are producing your current level of results. I've always remembered you'll always be where you are because of the decisions that you've made in the past or you've let someone else make for you. And habits are a big form of this. More than likely, if you create the higher level of success, you're going to need drop some of your habits, and for example, not returning phone calls, staying up too late, watching too much television, making sarcastic comments, eating fast food every day, smoking, being late for appointments, spending more than you earn, and replace them with productive habits, returning phone calls within 24 hours, getting 8 hours of sleep a day, reading at least an hour a day, exercising 4 times a week, eating healthy food, being on time, and saving 10% of your income. I mean, the reality is, good or bad habits will always deliver the results you expect. Success is a matter of understanding and religiously practicing specific, simple habits that always lead to success. Your habits determine your outcomes. Successful people don't just drift to the top. Getting there requires focus, attention, and personal discipline, and lots of energy every day to make things happen. The habits you develop from this day forward ultimately determine the future that unfolds before you. One of the problems for the people with poor habits is that the results of their bad habits usually don't show up until much later in life. When you develop a chronic bad habit, life will eventually give you the consequences of what you've done. Look at smoking. Look at alcohol abuse. Look at gambling. It all has consequences later on in life. You may not like the consequences, but the life will still deliver them. The fact is, if you keep doing things a certain way, you'll always get predictable results. Negative habits breed negative consequences. Positive habits breed positive consequences. You think this was obvious, but we drift throughout life, just ignoring the obvious. We just hide. And you know, the old phrase, ignorance is bliss, springs to mind, where people would rather not know the bad news rather than facing it and sorting it out. So take action to develop new habits and better habits now. There are 2 action steps for changing your habits. The first is to make a list of the habits that keep you unproductive and that make negatively impact your future. The others to help you objectively identify what you believe and what your limiting habits are. Look for patterns of behaviour. Also review the list of the most common, here's a list of the most common unsuccessful habits. Procrastination. We've all suffered from that at some point in time. I'll phone them tomorrow. Paying the bills at the last minute. Not delivering on promised documents and services in a timely manner. letting receivables get overdue, arriving late for meetings and appointments, forgetting someone's name within seconds of being introduced to them, talking over others' comments instead of listening to them first. I've always got the answer first. That's, some people are in there straight away with the answer before the person's actually said what they're about to say. I sometimes stop and say, okay, what am I about to say then? That catches people out. Answering the telephone during family time or spouse time is another one. Handling mail more than once. Working late. Choosing work over time with your children. Having fast food meals more than 2 days a week. Once you've identified your negative habits, the second step is to choose better, more productive success habits and develop systems that will support them throughout your process. For example, if your goal is to get to the gym every morning, one system you might put in place is to go to bed 1 hour earlier and set your alarm ahead. If you're in sales, you might develop a checklist of activities so all the prospects receive the same series of communications on a consistent basis. Maybe you want to get the habit of completing your work by the close of business on the Friday, so you'd free up to spend your weekends with your spouse and your children. I mean, that's an excellent habit, but what specifically will you adopt to get that new habit? What activities will you engage in? How will you stay motivated throughout that process? It's not easy for people to switch off at the weekend, me included. Will you develop a checklist of what might be accomplished by Friday afternoon to keep you on track? Will you spend less time chatting to your co-workers at the water cooler or at the teas kitchen? Email people their promised documents as you're talking on the phone with them. That's another easier one to do. Take shorter lunches as a result and free up your time a bit more. All these wee things compound and add up. When you think about the logic of this, if your shorter lunch was 15 minutes short every day, that's 20, that's 15, that's 5, that's 5, 15, that's 60, that's 75 minutes a week. Multiplied by a 40-week year, because you have holidays the other weeks. So 40-week year, 75 minutes. That's a lot of time recovered. That's 1 hour 40. That's more than 1.5 to 2 weeks more productivity in a whole year. Could you imagine what you could do an extra 2 weeks and what you could earn as a result of that? That 2 weeks could go to earning your lifestyle and doing something outside of your normal day-to-day work. But you have to free up that time. You have to focus on these small improvements throughout what you do. So what could you achieve if you took on 4 new habits a year? If you use these strategies to develop just 4 new habits a year, 5 years from now, you'll have 20 new successful habits that could bring you all the money you want, the wonderful loving relationships you desire, a healthier, more engaged and energized body, plus all sorts of new opportunities that spring as a result of that. That's 20 new successful habits in a 5-year period. Start by listing 4 new habits you'd like to establish in the next year. Work on 1 new habit every quarter. And if you work diligently on building 1 new habit every 13 weeks, you won't overwhelm yourself with an unrealistic list of New Year's resolutions. For God's sake, don't wait for New Year. Just do it now. And research now shows that if you repeat a behavior for 13 weeks, whether it is meditating for 20 minutes a day, flossing your teeth, reviewing your goals, or writing thank you letters to your clients, it will be yours for life. So be systematically adding 1 behavior at a time. You can dramatically improve your overall lifestyle. Here are a couple of hints for making sure that you follow through in your communication to your new habit and your commitments. Put up signs to remind you to follow through on your new behavior. I mean, when I learned that even a little dehydration can actually decrease your mental acuity by as much as 30%. I mean, dehydration can do that to you. I really decided the habit of making sure that every single day I would drink quite a lot of water every single day. And an easy way to do that is to put signs round about your house saying drink water on your phone, on your office door, on your bathroom mirror, on your kitchen refrigerator. You could also have somebody else remind you. Another powerful technique, finally, to keep you focused on your new habit is to partner up with someone else and hold each other accountable. I remember when we were trying to lose weight when I was at Brand Rex, because I was about 2 stone heavier. I had a friend, actually, we just focused on each other, and we actually said every single day for the weigh-in every single week, we were focused on getting less and more weight off every single week as a result of that. And within 2 months, I'd lost 2 stone. It's that simple if you focus on it hard enough and you work towards it as a result. So check in with each other at least once a week to make sure you're staying on track. Perhaps the most powerful way to stay on track is follow the no exceptions rule that we spoke about in previous episodes. And I'll see you tomorrow.